All right, aspirants, let's jump right into a topic that is absolutely central to India's economic future. NITI Aayog's new high-tech roadmap for our manufacturing sector. You're definitely going to want to pay close attention, because this is prime material for your exams.
Let's kick things off with the one number you absolutely have to remember from this entire report, 25%. That is the big goal, the target for a manufacturing slice of India's GDP by the year 2035. That is a huge leap from where we are right now, so keep this number locked in your mind. It's the destination for this entire journey we're about to take.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down for you. First, we'll look at the grand vision for 2047. Then, we'll get real about the challenges and gaps we're facing today. After that, we dive into the 4 amazing technologies that are the key to the solution. We'll walk through the 10-year roadmap, then look at the serious cost of doing nothing, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways you need for your exam prep.
All right, Section 1. So, what's the big picture here? What is the ultimate goal? Well, this whole thing sets the stage for India's massive ambition to become a true advanced manufacturing powerhouse by 2047, which is a huge part of that Viksit Bharat, or Developed India vision.
And this quote right here, it just nails the sheer scale of the ambition. We are not talking about small, incremental improvements. The report makes it crystal clear. This has to be a complete transformation, a total re-engineering of how we innovate, how we build, and how we sell. It's as much about changing our mindset as it is about changing our policies.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because the vision isn't just talk, it's backed by hard numbers. You'll want to note these down. By 2035, the goal is to hit a 3.5% annual growth in something called total factor productivity, and to grab a 6.5% share of global exports. And you can see the targets get even bigger by 2047. So you see, it's not just about making more things, it's about becoming way more efficient and a real force on the global stage.
Okay, so we have the vision. But before we can get to the solution, we have to get real about the problems. This next part is that crucial reality check, looking at the major hurdles that are standing between India right now and that 25% GDP target.
And this chart, wow, it really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Right now, India's manufacturing sector makes up about 15 to 17% of our GDP. But look at our peers. Vietnam, China, South Korea, they're all way up there, past 24%. You can just see the gap right there. That's the mountain we have to climb.
So what's holding us back? Well, the report boils it down to these 5 core structural challenges. For your notes, think of this as the official problem statement. We've got gaps in R&D, our supply chains are messy, our workforce needs new skills, we're not sustainable enough, and our small and medium businesses, the MSMEs, are getting left behind on technology. These are the big roadblocks.
Okay, we've seen the problems. Now for the exciting part, the solutions. The report identifies 4 specific, cutting-edge technologies that it sees as absolute game changers, the catalysts that can power this transformation. Now, to make sure you remember these for your exam, we've got a great mnemonic for you, AMDR. Just think of the phrase, all my dreams are real, and you'll have the 4 pillars of India's manufacturing future locked in. So what do these letters actually stand for? Let's break it down.
First up, A is for artificial intelligence. Now, the report doesn't just see AI as another tool. It calls it the orchestration layer, basically the intelligent brain of the smart factory of the future. It's what will perceive, predict, and act on everything from optimizing a supply chain to reducing energy waste.
Next, M stands for advanced materials. This is foundational stuff. We're talking about the very DNA of future products. Imagine super lightweight composites for our space program, or smart textiles that can monitor your health, or even plastics that heal themselves. These materials are the key to building products that are lighter, stronger, and way more sustainable. Then we have D for digital twins. Okay, this one is super cool. Imagine building a full-scale virtual prototype of a new car or even an entire factory before a single physical part is made. That's a digital twin. It allows you to test, simulate, and optimize everything in the digital world first, which saves a ton of time and money. And last but not least, R for robotics. Now let's be clear, the vision here isn't about replacing workers. It's all about augmenting them. Think collaborative robots or cobots working side by side with humans on complex tasks, or exoskeletons that help workers lift heavy loads safely. It's about enhancing human capability, not replacing it.
All right, so we've got our tools, AMDR. Now let's look at the actual blueprint for putting them all to work. The report lays out a really clear, time-bound, 10-year strategic plan to get this done.
Now, the plan is brought down into 3 clear phases, and this structure is really important to remember. From 2026 to 28, it's all about building the foundation and the ecosystem. Then, from 29 to 31, we hit the accelerator and scale up. And finally, from 32 to 35, the goal is to sustain that momentum and become a global leader.
So that first phase, the ecosystem build, is absolutely crucial. For your exams, you'll want to remember these 3 big moves. First, establish a world-class Global Frontier Technology Institute, or GFTI, to drive research. Second, launch a massive skilling program to get our workforce ready. And third, create 20 specialized plug-and-play industrial parks. That GFTI is a really big deal. Now, during that second acceleration phase, the focus shifts to a key concept you have to know: servicification of manufacturing. This is a huge change. It means instead of just selling, say, a jet engine, you sell hours of thrust. You bundle the physical product with services like remote monitoring and predictive maintenance. It's a whole new way of doing business, creating steady revenue.
But here's the critical question. What happens if we don't do all this? What's the cost of just standing still? The report isn't just optimistic, it also gives a very stark warning about the price of inaction.
And this chart just lays it all out. Look at that difference. If we just continue business as usual, our manufacturing GDP might hit about $1.05 trillion by 2035. But if we fully embrace these frontier technologies, that number jumps to $1.32 trillion. That's not just a little improvement, it's a completely different economic future for the country.
So let's boil it down to a single headline number. From an exam perspective, this is the one you need to circle and star in your notes. The cost of standing still, the potential loss to our economy if we fail to act, is a massive $270 billion in manufacturing GDP by 2035. That's the price of inaction.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've covered a lot of ground, so let's consolidate everything into a single high-yield summary for your revision. This is everything you need to know, all in one place.
So here's your final checklist. The grand vision is Viksit Bharat at 2047 with that key target of 25% manufacturing share of GDP. Remember the current gap we have, which is driven by 5 core structural challenges. The solution rests on the 4 catalysts, Armonic, A, M, D, R. The plan itself is a 3-phase, 10-year roadmap featuring big ideas like the GFTI and the shift to servicification. And finally, never forget the critical cost of inaction, a $270 billion potential GDP loss by 2035.
And that's our deep dive into this crucial roadmap. I'll leave you with this final thought to analyze. We've talked about 4 incredible technologies: AI, advanced materials, digital twins, and robotics. All of them are critical. But which single one do you think will be the biggest game changer? Which one will be the primary engine for India's great manufacturing leap forward? Really thinking about that will help you build a much deeper perspective.